Hi guys, so it's early in the morning, it's like 6, but my 7 o'clock short for today is talking about, well, it's a WTF Wednesday. I'm within the first 30 seconds, so I'm not going to swear just yet. But trust me, there's going to be some swearing shortly. And just to kill a little time, so that I can start using my actual profanity from my cultural dialect. There, we're at 33. Unfucking believable. The Trudeau Foundation, and you'll find the archived link for this story in the description. The Trudeau Foundation has investments in Chinese companies flagged for security risks, says one former board member. It's actually multiple former board members, but yeah, flipping through this story, Trudeau Foundation has investments in Baidu and Tencent. For those of you who don't know, Tencent is TikTok's parent company. You know, TikTok, that app that's all the rage with security experts for, well, not for how good it is. Let me see. We've got a few different names. Madeleine Redfern, who's a former Finance and Investment Committee member for the Trudeau Foundation, testified in House of Commons Ethics Committee on June 2nd as part of its foreign interference investigation. She said she inquired with the foundation a year ago about whether it had investments in China. Quote, this is a quoted question from Bloc Québécois MP René Villemort. When you wanted to know more on foreign investments, did they work with you or did they make things difficult for you? Her answer is telling. Quote, I definitely had some concerns around the possibility of Chinese investments depending on where those investments were, said Redfern. Now, assuming, and I'm being kind to the journalists here because I do believe this is the Epoch Times, yes, and they tend to be more or less fairly trustworthy with the way they present stories. But if this exchange went the way this is depicted in the story, she avoided the question. This is someone who's raising concerns, yet still avoiding the question. But apparently Redfern had taken stances critical of Beijing and its investments in Canada in previous testimony before the National Defence Committee in November. Yeah. She said, quote, very concerning and problematic to see Chinese telecommunications infrastructure being provided to Canada's north. Now, the reason this is What the Fuck Wednesday is because, Jesus Christ, lady, I get that you used to be the mayor of Iqaluit. But why is your concern for the north of Canada? Why isn't it for the whole of Canada? How did this country get so particularized? Granular. How did we get so self-concerned? Canadians are supposed to be concerned with the good of all. This is Trudeau's whole reason for trying to turn us into the world's fucking conscience and bed and breakfast, apparently. But, yeah, your concern is for the North. It's not for the country as a whole. See, we have to pay attention to the way these people speak, even when they speak in favor of causes that we're in favor of. Because what they say is still revelatory. It shows you that these people don't really give a shit about everybody. They're just in it for themselves. Helpful. If you're not playing the game of one for all and all for one, or we're all in this together, then you're doomed. Oh, and Tencent is also the developer of WeChat. Or as I like to call it, hey, let's tell the party everything about us. Oh, and a further quote. I had a fulsome discussion with the members of the committee and the investment firm about how we invest and was told that we have ESG, environmental, social, and corporate governance principles, that guide the investments and that quite a lot of work had been done before my arrival to sort of help direct the firm on how we make investments. The firm. This is supposed to be a non-profit organization, and just to give you a little background, the Trudeau Foundation was created with a $125 million endowment from the federal government in 2001. So, if I recall correctly, that would be either Chrétien or Paul Martin, another Liberal government, in memory of former Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau to provide grants and academic scholarships. Just zipping through here. So there was apparently a bit of a crisis behind the scenes at the Trudeau Foundation over these Chinese investments. Some of those investments were made in 2016. The crisis happened within the last 6 months. Yeah. Or last year, we'll say. Yeah. Dr. Ginger Gibson, director of the consulting firm Firelight Group, said she was the one who presented the motion asking that members who were present when the foundation received Chinese money recuse themselves from the review process. So in other words, when this came up internally in the Trudeau Foundation, and someone said, okay, we need to have an investigation about this, and then this Dr. Ginger Gibson said, we need everyone who was present when that money was received to not be involved in the review process. She says, quote, we tried to run those motions through a good process, but at each turn, and there's an ellipsis, I do apologize, these motions were struck down. Yeah, so in other words, yeah, the entire organization is subverted. I'm not surprised it's named after a communist. What do you expect? Edward Johnson, currently steering the foundation, testified before the committee on May 9th and criticized the, quote, unwarranted attacks it is facing. Okay, Mr. Johnson, you're where I'm going to finish. Because the next name is Rosenberg, and I don't need to be accused of anti-Semitism. But if you're running a group that's taken money from the Chinese Communist Party, oh no, we didn't take it directly from the Chinese Communist Party. No, but you took it from companies that are known to be directly linked to the Chinese Communist Party because they operate in fucking China. Yeah, you took money from the Chinese Communist Party. Period. Flatline. Done. Okay? Why do you think that's a bad idea? Oh, well, at the time, nobody really thought that badly of the China. Are you fucking kidding me? China has had human rights issues going back to the 2000s. Chrétien brought them up. Get fucked, you asshole. We're not stupid out here. Honestly, if you live in Canada and you don't occasionally turn on CPAC, for those of you who don't know, CPAC in Canada actually stands for the Canadian Parliamentary Access Channel, which is a cable channel that is provided to every single cable subscriber. It's basically an unavoidable channel. It's actually worth flicking on once in a while. Sometimes you get a good question period. My personal favorite was, don't remember the NDP member's name now, but he basically talked about Canada's zombie preparations. Yeah, the preparedness plan for a zombie apocalypse. That was fun. I think he was a Manitoba MP. I want to say Charlie Angus, but I could have that wrong. But in any case, occasionally it's very much worth flipping on because you'll get Supreme Court proceedings. You'll get, every now and again, they'd have like a trivia show, like a streeter trivia show, which is something I'd really love to do at some point. Not here. Maybe if I get to St. John's, the city, and get a chance to walk around the street there and ask people questions, I think that might be fun. But if you're Canadian and you don't occasionally turn on CPAC, then you don't know what's going on behind the scenes in this country at all. You don't know what our government and our legislators and our court system are doing. You really ought to try and inform yourself once in a while of what that is. And get it directly from the source. Don't just let some news service tell you what happened. But to come back to the whole point before I run out of time here, what the fuck did you expect, Johnson? You took money from the Chi-Coms. Of course people are going to be unhappy with you. Oh, and I'll do it all again. Oh, but at the time, everybody liked China. No! No, everybody didn't fucking like China at the time. Why do you think there are so many people trying to get the fuck out of China? This is 7 years ago. This was right in the middle of when the Hong Kong bullshit started. We're not fucking stupid out here. Stop pretending that you don't know shit. Well, he might not be pretending. What the fuck?